Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Karin Helmstedt.
Greetings from Berlin and a warm welcome to our highlights edition, which this time around includes the following top stories. Great adventure. 3 students and their journey in an electric rickshaw. Time travel. An Italian photographer recreates the styles of bygone eras. And Winter Wonderland, the Swiss city of St. Gallen, is worth a visit, especially at this time of year. Well, the long wait is over for winter sports fans, and a ski season in many European resorts has finally begun. And once upon a time, when people hit the slopes, it was just to go skiing or maybe even snowboarding. But that is, of course, changing as resorts try to outdo one another with a cultural plus to attract more tourists. And this season in the Austrian resort of Lech, Sous, artists and some of Europe's best DJs gathered to welcome the visitors to the slopes.
This isn't exactly where you would combine music and art, but locals and visitors in Lech, Austria are celebrating the start of the ski season with light installations, DJs and live music. The theme is love.
Amazing.
The whole atmosphere is great. It's really lively. It's love, right?
It's an outdoor party, fun under the stars, great music, fantastic people. I love how different artists have co-designed the event and pieced it all together.
What makes this party unique is that the gondolas run all night between the valley station and the highest mountain peak. 2 gondolas are transformed into mid-air clubs by DJs. 2 other gondolas have been redesigned by artists. One of these is Berlin artist Jim Avignon. He was only able to get to work once the ski slope had been closed for the day. Back in the 1990s, he used to decorate Berlin's clubs with his pop art pieces.
I want to exhibit artworks that will take people on a journey to a different, strange, funny and crazy world. Up here it's definitely different to anything you'd usually experience on top of a skiing mountain.
Avignon painted his pieces on the mountain just before the festival. His trademark, fast artworks produced on cheap materials. It's a statement against the overheated art market. German photographer Katja Ruger is also exhibiting her work, pictures of the most important analog synthesizers, which are then projected onto the opposite mountain slope. Given the dimensions, this is only possible with large-scale analog slides and a specially constructed projector.
Without these synthesizers, there would be no electronic music. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to portray these devices.
Runger had devised the picture series for a music magazine and entitled it Can Love Be Sinful? It most certainly can for Daniel Miller. The Brit is DJing in one of the gondolas. Most notably, he discovered and produced Depeche Mode. This is a homecoming of sorts for him.
It's pretty special. It's very special, yeah. It's cool. 40 years ago, I was a resident DJ in Zermatt, in Switzerland, when I was 22.
These days, it's not uncommon for international DJs, like DJ Hell from Germany, to get behind the turntables in ski resorts. Another electronic music project comes courtesy of Niklas Vogt and his wife, model Eva Pattberg.
There's no other event that takes place up a snowy mountain. None that we know of, anyway. It's completely unique.
Around 50 artists and musicians are taking part in the Fantastic Gondolas initiative. Some of them even wear both hats. Artist Jim Avignon makes an appearance as Neo Angin, a one-man band.
I'm a musician and an artist, so a festival that combines both is obviously right up my alley. There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
Fantastic Gondolas, a meeting of art and music that scales new creative heights.
Well, the images of Swiss-Italian artist Christian Tagliavini are made up of meticulously designed stories. His latest series was inspired by the novels of the 19th century French writer Jules Verne, who wrote titles such as Around the World in 80 Days. Well, Tagliavini creates what he calls a designed narrative, taking as long as he needs to complete even a single picture. So let's embark on one of his voyages extraordinaires, or extraordinary journeys, right here in Berlin.
The artist Christian Tagliavini is putting the finishing touches on this exhibition at the Cameraworks Gallery in Berlin. Sometimes it takes him months to prepare a photo. Costumes, props and scenery are all his, and they all have to be in the right place.
I don't consider myself a photographer who simply captures moments of everyday life. I'm a craftsman who uses the medium of photography to transform my ideas into pictures. I'm also a craftsman because I want to portray what's going on behind the scenes. That's really important to me.
Tagliavini's series Voyage Extraordinaire was inspired by the French writer Jules Verne and his series of books by the same name. But the characters are products of the artist's imagination. In fact, he made a conscious decision not to read Verne's novels. But he did conduct extensive research, so everything is as realistic as possible.
I wanted to use this bizarre instrument, the topophone, in my photographs. So I came up with the idea of having a researcher use one. Topophones were originally used to eavesdrop on the enemy in wartime.
Tagliavini calls his pictures designed narratives. They're much more than just photographs, particularly when you consider all the work he did to get them ready. In fact, it took him about 2 years to prepare these 28 photographs.
It's absolutely crazy that someone would spend so much time on one project. It's really impressive in this day and age. I think it's great that he sees time as a valuable commodity, and that he takes the necessary time to create a work like this.
Tagliavini is a designer and architect by training. He crafts his works at his studio in Lugano. He designed the costumes, but left the manufacturing to the professionals. He hires models who look exactly like the images of the characters he has in mind. This photo series is called 1503. It resembles 16th century portraits. Dame di Cartone features characters wearing 50s-style clothes made from cardboard. And Carte is a series about the characters that appear on playing cards.
I get my ideas rather suddenly. It's not a gradual or slow-moving process. They just turn up suddenly, like when I'm driving or taking a shower.
Tagliavini's pictures are produced in limited editions. Prices start at €4,800. Voyage Extraordinaire is his most complex project yet.
It's been 2 or 3 years since I started this project. Still, I really don't feel like taking a break at this point.
prossimo progetto.
But I will carefully consider what to do next. All I can say is that it will definitely be different from this one.
Chi lo sa?
But for now, Christian Tagliavini is still putting the finishing touches on his current project. His Voyage Extraordinaire will be on display in Berlin until the end of February.
Well, on now to another extraordinary voyage, and it's a classic thing for students to do before they get tied down with jobs and families and other commitments, to travel the world very free to make their own schedule. Well, the three students we're about to meet not only decided to set out together, but they wanted to give the trip something of a higher purpose. And so they called themselves the Pilgrims and traveled 20,000 kilometers from Bangkok to Toulouse in a modified electric tuk-tuk or a rickshaw. An incredible journey, to say the least, and all in the name of electromobility.
On the road, maxing out at 70 kilometers an hour, without emissions. What makes the journey in this electro vehicle so special? It's the team aboard. 3 idealistic students from France and Germany.
Here is Karen. He's the captain. Every day he led us to the right city.
He's Remy. He's our communication freak. He loves to connect with young people. That's the engineer, the German guy. Sometimes the people ask about kilowatt per hours, and we're like, yeah, Ludwig.
What started as a wacky idea morphed into this project. After spending a semester as exchange students in Bangkok, the 3 didn't just want to fly home. Instead, they drove 20,000 kilometers through 16 different countries in Asia and Europe. Karen, Remy, and Ludwig see their return journey as a great adventure with a grand vision.
We use the tuk-tuk because it's a good way of communicating about electric mobility, but also about green energy.
After 4 months of traveling, this is the last stop before their final destination of Toulouse. The custom-made tuk-tuk weathered the long journey without breaking down.
It runs 100% electric, so it's 15% on the optimum conditions. The best conditions for the sunlight would be 15% of inputs from the solar panels, but then the majority of the power we get is from the lithium batteries we have underneath. And so the only thing we have to do every day is to charge.
But that isn't always so easy.
Here we go. Some places, especially in China, we had a few problems with charging our tuk-tuk. And also in the beginning, we didn't really know our tuk-tuk, which is electric, and we even had to push the tuk-tuk on a mountain because we were getting under voltage and we had no more batteries.
The eco-friendly rickshaw weighs 1.2 tons, certainly no lightweight. Apart from road conditions, cold or wet weather pose the greatest challenges along the journey. But a constant source of encouragement amidst the problems, the support and hospitality of people along the way.
We come back with lots of new insights about the cultures, about the people in general, and the belief that electric power is actually really the future.
One battery charge takes them around 300 kilometers. The trio have also found the time to give workshops at universities, reporting on their project. Perhaps their most important stop was in Paris for the recent climate summit. Together with environmental activists, they demonstrated the potential of electric mobility with a joint tour around the French capital.
I think we can spread a really important message. Our journey has shown that electric mobility can be fun. It can also combine a halfway around the world trip with an environmental cause. So I think we've achieved quite a lot.
The project, co-financed with the help of sponsors and crowdfunding, finally reached its destination, Toulouse. For Karen and Ludwig, the end of the adventure marks the completion of part of their master's degrees. And for all three, it's the beginning of their own campaign for alternative power sources.
It's also about building up a wider network for promoting electric mobility. I'm confident that the three of them will succeed. They have a lot of passion, but also a lot of serious commitment. So we're very proud that they made it.
For the self-styled Green Pilgrims, it's the eco-odyssey they're more than happy to have embarked on.
Well, he also lives where it's green. The Northern Irish artist Colin Davidson is best known for his oversized portrait painting. And with a couple of celebrities already to his credit, he had gained a significant amount of international acclaim. Well, it's not 2 months ago that he got a call from the US weekly Time magazine and was commissioned with a portrait of German Chancellor Angela Merkel. And at the time, he had no idea what they intended to do with it until he discovered it gracing the cover of their Person of the Year issue.
Angela Merkel, one of the most powerful people on the planet. After Time magazine decided to honour the German Chancellor as its Person of the Year, Colin Davidson was asked to paint her portrait for the cover of the edition.
What I wanted with this painting was to pull out a compassion, a kind of an empathy. I wanted to look at the human being behind it rather than look at the celebrity or the achievement. I wanted to look at the equal human behind it.
Colin Davidson usually spends 6 months on each portrait. This time he was given just 6 weeks. Denied the chance of a personal sitting with his subject, the artist had to base his rendering on photos and video material.
It's not every day you're asked by Time to make a painting, and you've got to think long and hard before turning them down. So I decided not to, and I decided to go for it. And it wasn't until last week that I realised that it had been used on the front.
Davidson is considered a master of the large format portrait. His first high-profile subject was the late Nobel Literature laureate Seamus Heaney. Intimate and revealing depictions of stars such as musician Mark Knopfler and actor Brad Pitt further boosted his reputation.
We're seeing the dad, hopefully the husband, the actor, way before we're seeing the celebrity or the icon. And what I'm just keen on is just showing and pulling out the human being from behind the facade.
Davidson graduated with a degree in design in Northern Ireland. He then ran his own successful design company for 10 years before deciding to become an artist full-time.
You know, I suppose I realised that if I was going to do anything that was kind of original in my career or in the field of the arts, that I was missing the chance. And so I didn't want to waste time.
Colin Davidson's artistic journey began with cityscapes of his hometown Belfast. Initially grand views from the skies, but over time closing in, to eventually reveal human figures behind thick-paned shop windows. All these works were part of an evolution that led to a bigger goal, painting portraits.
What I'm doing is I'm bringing absolutely everything I've learnt about paint to one particular piece. And that's why these heads become something else to me. That's why they're the size that they are as well.
The Ulster Museum in Belfast is currently home to an exhibition that is the culmination of a 5-year process for Davidson. It comprises portraits of people who have lost loved ones in the decades-old conflict between Catholics and Protestants. Subjects the artist also interviewed.
People have just been so moved by it as an exhibition. We collect feedback from the public, and one of the regular comments we get is, "I've never known an exhibition move me to tears, but this is what the exhibition has done."
Silent Testimony features stories from both sides of the divide in Northern Ireland, showing the deep personal pain that unites his subjects.
I see it as a single work of art with 18 constituent parts. And what I hope it does, well, I hope it shines light on the 18 stories, but what I hope in the process that it does is to, in turn, shine light on the many tens of thousands of stories just like these.
Colin Davidson says he would like to take his exhibition to other cities around Europe. And now, with the Time magazine cover on his resume, he certainly has a good chance.
And finally, we'll finish off with a trip to eastern Switzerland, not far from Lake Constance, in fact. So in the northeast of the country is the city of St. Gallen. And during Adventszeit, they like to let out all the stops there, from the old town that sparkles with garlands of star lights and where decadent Christmas trees abound. The winter sure does look a lot less dreary.
In winter, St. Gallen is a wonderland. The medieval abbey of St. Gall complex has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1983. It includes an imposing Baroque cathedral. In the year 612, Irish monk St. Gall founded a hermitage on the site of modern St. Gallen.
At the time, people believed that the harder their lives on earth were, the more beautiful heaven would be. St. Gall also believed this. He stayed here, a place with an altitude of 700 meters, because when he first arrived, he stumbled and saw it as a sign from God. He was collecting wood to make a fire when a brown bear approached him. St. Gall spoke to him and said, "In the name of God, go and fetch me more wood for my fire." And he did.
The Reformation arrived in St. Gallen in 1527. Conflict between Catholics and Protestants was rife. A 10-meter-high wall was erected to separate the abbey from the town.
The wall divided the town into two. It was half Catholic, half Protestant. It stood there until 1820, which is when the town became a center of the textiles industry, famous for embroidery. Then the wall was taken down.
Textiles brought affluence to St. Gallen. By 1910, the region was the world's leading exporter of embroidered goods. Today, fashion brands from Chanel to Dior and Armani still use St. Gallen lace. The local textiles museum documents the history of the industry. St. Gallen is proud of its heritage. The Abbey Library is one of the oldest monastic libraries in the world. It houses over 2,000 manuscripts dating back to the 8th through the 15th centuries, including the world's oldest music manuscript, which dates back to the 9th century.
No other library in Europe has been preserved in such entirety. Its gems include very early fragments of the Latin Bible, a manuscript of the Nibelungen, a very famous piece, as well as early German literature.
Ulrika Brülisauer starts her Christmas season tour of St. Gallen's Angels and Cherubs not far from the Baroque Library, in the Roman Catholic Stiftskirche of St. Gall and Ottmar. Angels and cherubs are not as integral a part of the church as one might think.
At times angels were expunged, other times they were considered acceptable. There was a lot of back and forth. Religious councils made decisions to expunge the angels.
As Christmas approaches, another attraction in St. Gallen is chocolate.
This is milk chocolate with gingerbread spices. And this here is quality chocolate with almond slivers and orange essence.
The nearby Confiserie Rockvilla is also marking the festive season.
Our Christmas gingerbread is filled with almond mousse and decorated with Christmas garnishing. It comes in various sizes.
St. Gallen's Christmas lights are legendary. A total of 700 of them are switched on ahead of the first Advent.
The stars show St. Gallen at its best.
Great mood, lovely atmosphere, perfect.
This is what Christmas is all about.
Christmas in St. Gallen, straight out of the storybooks.
Well, don't forget to visit our website or even find us on Facebook, so you can always keep abreast of what's happening on the program. And with that, it's time once again for us to sign off. So until we meet again, all the best for the festive season wherever you are, and guten Rutsch, as we say in German. See you in the new year. Bye-bye and auf Wiedersehen.